Hi there. This is Jennifer Boudrye, founder of Queer Camp Fair, and I am so excited to have this conversation today with Chris Murrah of the Ghostlight Theater Camp. Thank you for taking the time to chat.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Tell us a little bit about Ghostlight.
Yeah, Ghostlight started in 2003. We started as a 10-day program that happened at the end of the summer. It was started by two of my friends, Steve and Tim, who met at the McCarter Theater in New Jersey and wanted to do a summer program for folks who love theater. That first summer, we had 10 campers, I think. And over the years, we grew and grew. And then in 2008, we built our own property, complete with a theater, an amphitheater, rehearsal spaces, dance studios, cabins, everything from scratch in 2008. I came on board in 2009 and have been with camp ever since. So we're going into this next summer with a lot of history, but also a lot of momentum and eyes towards the future. One of the things I love about our camp is that we're constantly evaluating how to get 1% better. So this feels like a really exciting summer 2025 to lean into that.
Oh, I'm so excited. So we're here talking about Queer Camp Fair, and you are one of our rainbow camps. Thank you very much for jumping in and embracing what we're doing here in our mission. So tell me a little bit about what made you decide to be a part of Queer Camp Fair.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I assumed going into theater and going into theater camp in 2009 when I joined was that there was an inclusive environment, right? Theater has always been a place for queer folk like myself to express themselves, to feel safe. What I learned over the years was that it takes great intentionality to be an inclusive and safe and welcoming space. And with no offense meant to my generation, we made it through our own way. And it occurred to us that we needed to listen to the next generation and figure out how they wanted to move through their adolescence and their time. And so joining Queer Camp Fair felt like a step to speaking that intentionality into reality. Right? That we want to learn from other camps. We want to learn from you all. We want to hear what families are saying about what their kids need, and we want to respond to that. So anything we can do to not sort of hide inclusivity, but to make it front and center, not only means that we'll be speaking to families through the internet and all of the other places they get information before they get on the phone with us, but we're also requiring ourselves to be accountable for that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about the steps that you take to help make sure that campers feel welcomed and affirmed.
Yeah, every year we lean into trainings and workshops, hearing from organizations that specifically work with camps and work with educators about how best practices are evolving. So for us, that might look like assessing what pool time looks like, or how we teach our counselors and our staff of incredible theater educators and theater makers to use inclusive language. As an example, when I was growing up in theater and musical theater professionally, it was fine to say boys over here, girls over there, right? Or, all right, boys' voices, girls' voices. We don't use that language anymore. We don't even use soprano, tenor, bass. We use high voices, low voices, right? And that just creates a space where everyone can feel affirmed. A couple other things we do are leaning into looking at how we house campers, right? Cabins are the number one question we get from families. That's their home. It's where they shower, where they brush their teeth, where they go to sleep at night, where they might have a nightmare and need support. All of those things happen at camp. And so those spaces in particular, we're always looking at how to make those spaces as safe, as welcoming, and as affirming as possible.
Oh, I love it. I love that so much. And you're right. That is the number one question I hear all the time when it comes to overnight camps is where is my kiddo going to be sleeping? And it's great that you guys have that front and center. So one more question. So what would parents that are thinking about sending their queer kid to your camp, what would you say to ease their minds and, reassure them that it's going to be a positive experience for their kids? Especially even if it's, I'm thinking as a theater camp, and my kids were all theater kids. I'm also wondering, for kids that are not necessarily sure that they are a theater kid.
Yeah, and that's a really good point you make. A lot of theater camps get the stigma that you have to be, have an agent, have your headshots, bring a resume, and often parents will call us and I think feel compelled to pitch their kid to us, right? And it's totally understandable. And I do love hearing all the shows your kids have done. That said, we're a camp for anyone who's interested in theater, and that's any side of it, from dramatic writing to performing to the tech aspect of it. It doesn't have to be what you want to do for life. We know that there are a lot of great lessons around communication and collaboration that come out of working in theater. So sometimes we do get families who are looking for a safe space for their queer kid. We've put that intention out there and they find us, and there's an interest in theater, but it might not be what they're passionate about, So thanks for noticing that, right? That people might come to us for different reasons. That said, your question about how to put a parent's mind at ease, right? How to support them and letting their kid go for 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 10 days, which is a big step. There's not one size fits all. I think the best thing that I can do, that our team can do, we have an incredible leadership team at Ghostlight. The best thing we can do is listen to the parent and to ask clarifying questions so that we truly understand what's at the heart of a concern or a fear or a worry, and then speak to that honestly. Here's what we know. Here's what we've experienced. Here's how we've approached that in the past. And also be honest if we haven't heard that fear or concern before. It's pretty rare now that I haven't heard the fear or concern. But be upfront and say it's because of these conversations that we get better and we know how to support your kid, because no one is the same, right? And we see over and over again the intersectionality with queerness and neurodivergence, with anxiety. I can't imagine why queer kids would be anxious these days. I know queer adults are as well. So, how we support your kid is going to build on what you're doing to support your kid. So we want to hear all of that. The biggest thing families can do when they've decided to send their kid to Ghostlight, or if they're deciding to send their kid to Ghostlight, is to be as honest and upfront with us as possible. We have a policy that we welcome the whole camper to camp. We are not a camp that punishes kids for needing to take breaks. We're not a camp that forces participation. We are challenged by choice. We do want folks to expand their comfort zone, right? We believe that discomfort can lead to growth. But that being said, there's no purpose in pushing a kid past the point where they feel safe, right? Or into feeling unsafe, to get the show up and going. We aren't that camp. So the more families tell us about what works for their kid that they know, and then connect us with those resources, the better off we are.
Great. Another question just occurred to me. Do you accept straight kids?
We love straight kids. Allies are our friends. Absolutely. And a lot of conversation has gone in over the years, right? Are we going to fly a pride flag? It was a discussion with a coworker of mine who is straight, who said, well, I just don't want straight kids to feel like they're not being celebrated. And we had a great discussion out of that. A moment of conflict bred a lot of understanding, and also a sensitivity to even how I talk about pride. Allies at Ghostlight are a huge part of the queer community. And we're really lucky that folks who come to us see what we're about, not only theater, but that inclusivity. And so those allies come in really strong, are happy to fly the pride flags, especially the progressive pride flag. Again, intersectionality with anti-racist work as well comes into play. So yes, no one is not welcome at Ghostlight. Right?
I kind of figured. I just wanted to make sure we got that across and got that clear. I wish that I could be going to camp. It sounds like an amazing, amazing experience, and I really appreciate, again, your time and your commitment to these kiddos. Anything else you want to share?
Oh, well, I think, something exciting that came out of our last summer was that some members of our leadership team who've been campers for many, many years, almost as long as I've been there. A couple of us actually started the same year. They were forced to take a couple of years off before coming back to work. So I win for longest attendance right now, but they're very close. We have just unveiled tiered pricing this year. So for the first time ever, we're no longer saying like, speak to us about what you need. We're putting it right there on our webpage. We have red, orange, yellow, green, and blue tiers. Roy G. Yes, that's right. I have to do it. I'm 43 and I still say Roy G. Biv. So we have those tiers on our website. It's a very simple form, not a lot of paperwork. And we've already seen that because we're putting that out there, that barrier for families is really disappearing. And so we're able to support campers coming to camp across the socioeconomic spectrum. There you go. So yeah, if you're interested in that, if you feel like camp isn't a possibility for your kid because of cost, we have great availability in session 1 right now, which is the first part of the summer. And now would be the time to check us out, fill out that simple tier pricing form. It's an incredible gift that we are so lucky to be able to do that. And the best thing that could happen is that we fill up because of it, and we have more kids come and feel affirmed in who they are, right? That's the best thing we do. So.
Oh, that is inclusivity in action, and I love it. All right, thank you so much. And obviously, folks can find you on Queer Camp Fair.
Oh, amazing.
Thanks so much.